questions, how about? You want to know what his name is? Terrence Lynch, age 34. Occupation fireman. Father deceased, he blew his brains out. Mother deceased, she drank herself to death. Education, high school, 1 year college. Nature of injury, his body is completely busted up. What about nature of accident? Well, he tried to do his job. Any more questions?
Timothy Hutton is an angry New York folk hero, and Turk 182 is one of the new movies we're going to be reviewing this week. I'm Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. In addition to Turk 182, we'll also be reviewing Blood Simple, a highly touted, very violent new film from a first-time director. We'll also be reviewing Mischief, a teenage comedy about a tough kid and an innocent kid. But first, Roger begins with a film with a strange title, Vision Quest.
The title of the movie, Vision Quest, comes from an Indian notion of a young man going off alone in a quest for his personal vision. In this movie, though, instead of going off into the desert or up onto the top of a mountain, the movie's hero goes in quest of a couple of goals closer to home: sex with the slightly older woman that he loves, and a victory over the meanest and most ferocious wrestler in the state of Washington. Here's a scene with a woman, a 21-year-old loner who is fiercely independent but has drifted into his life.
What you guys just heard is two of my favorite intros from two of my most favorite and cherished critics, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert from After Movies. That was the intro from their popular shows. To me, those are the two most iconic of their era, from the 70s all the way even from the 90s. And really, honestly, they haven't really had that type of theme ever since. I mean, they had some good ones, especially when Ebert decided to move away from the camera for obvious reasons, due to the cancer and the effects that it had done, life-altering effects it had done to his features as well as his life in general. But I always kept both of these critics near and dear to my heart. They were pretty much an icon for me to actually stay up at night when I was a kid, because they came out pretty late. They didn't really had a afternoon schedule. They pretty much came on pretty much after the news, at least in the East Coast, around 12, sometimes 11:30, 12, depending on what time the stations wanted to put them on during that time. But no one cannot deny their very strong impact that they had on television and well as movie reviews, period. I have said this before when a few years ago when Roger Ebert has passed away, unfortunately due to cancer, and how much he had meant to me as well as to just basically reviewing, period. What I respect about these men, both Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, is that even if you cannot agree with the films they either like or didn't like, you have to but respect their opinion. It was their opinion. It was not always the right opinion, but it was their opinion nonetheless, and they were honest about their opinions. Their arguments were pretty much like not really more of reporters or reviewers, but more of two friends who just cannot agree or disagree on the films. And when they do agree, it was actually good to see what the reason why they like or didn't like a movie. It's also kind of fun to see their arguments as well as film that was so bad, but they still had a soft spot for and generally enjoyed the guilty pleasure they was having. One of the best examples of this, if you can still find it on YouTube, because it was on YouTube for a while. For I understand, there's still some great classics that's on YouTube, and I recommend you check them out, especially for those who are into movie journalism or getting into that field, is see how much they had fun with a bad film. When a film is so bad but it was actually entertaining, you can see how they interact. It was almost like they were one of us when we went and talk about a film that it was great. I like this part. This part is ridiculous. They really shown that in their professionalism to the point where they just threw all that artsy professionalism out the door and just had fun reviewing a film. There are times where you see the absolute hatred they have for a film. Two films come to mind: Linnet Park 6 and North. This was, if you want to see the resonance of pure frustration come out of their voice and even in their body language, those are the two films those are the two reviews. Maybe be very frank here, that you need to take a look at them, because it was resonant. It was a passion, and that passion you just cannot duplicate just by a pen and paper. It has to be seen and has to be shown on the TV set to show just how frustrating it was. Because here's the thing I actually appreciate about Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, is that even though they may not like a film, they do praise certain aspect of the film. It's not like they go out and look for anything bad. They try to find the good even in bad films or mediocre films, and that's something I also appreciate. I also had a respect for them when they threw politics out the window, when they were willing to go to bat for films they know that was unjustly wrong, justly been snubbed. A prime example where I got a new fondness and respect for was Hoop Dreams, and how they really opened the page on how hypocritical and how corrupt and how much politics played a role in the Academy selections. The Oscars got a lot of backlash for what they did, because it was purposely been put aside in favor of Friends, of films they had nominated. It really left a black eye into the industry that was felt for years upon years. They also were very known to sticking up for The Empire Strikes Back, which was surprising even by me, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but The Empire Strikes Back was not the well-received review coming out, and they really stuck their neck out for the film, where they didn't really have to, and many people to this day shouldn't, but they actually gave pinpoints. Nowadays we don't think about it, because if you look over the years, this film is considered to be the best sequel of all time and one of the best films ever made, which is kind of ironic, because even George Lucas himself did not like Empire Strikes Back. It's kind of ironic considering that there hasn't been a Star Wars film ever since then. But these are the things that that Siskel and Ebert have done over the years. They was able to talk about a film, justify why they liked the film, stick up for films that was wrong, and wasn't afraid to actually basically throw their weight around to basically ban a film from actually being seen in their screens for a variety of reasons. This is something I did not agree with them. I Spin Your Grave was not played in many Chicago theaters, if any, for that matter, due to the fact of its graphic nature of some of the scenes they have. I'm not going to go into any detail because I'm not here to rate that film, but needless to say, these are the things they was known for many things to do. And I'm throwing everything out there for a reason, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. The important thing I want to point out here about why I'm bringing these two critics up and why I feel it's important to bring them up is for a few things. The reason why they have withstood the test of time, even today, there has not been any movie critics, at least in the traditional aspects, that ever match what these two have done. The reason why they have survived this long is because not only was they able to review a film that you and I can understand and basically give us information that you and I understand, to the point where even the movie makers from Hollywood was pretty much listening to what they would have to say. If you'd be surprised how many directors, how many producers, how much Hollywood was glued to what Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert said on their reviews. That's how much respect they had. They were respected, but they was also feared and was even loathed by some of the studios. And for the reason is, a lot of people cling on to what they were saying on the TV screen. Whether you agree or disagree with what they were saying on the screen in terms of the movies that you either saw or wanted to see, um, they their opinion hold a lot of weight. But it wasn't because of the film they got it right all the time or they got it wrong all the time. There are films I've seen that I actually enjoyed. There are films I've seen that I actually hated, but they actually liked. It's a matter of opinion. It's a matter of taste. No opinion is right. But the one thing that set them apart is they was honest. They wasn't trying to be flashy. And with those two combined, because they was really two different styles of reviews that were colliding here, you can actually appreciate and respect their opinions because, again, they was being honest on their opinion. And that's what's very, very important. It's still important to this day about the honest opinion of what I consider to be the journalists of reviewing. These were journalists. They have a degree in that kind of field, and that's why I'm calling that. Why am I talking about this in Entertainment Roundup, you may ask? Well, it's very simple. In the last few years that I have been watching and studying and reading up on entertainment movies that are coming out, movies that have yet to be released, some of the behind the scenes that's going on with films, I noticed that politics have played a very big role in whether or not people actually liked the film or didn't like the film. Now, let me make this very clear. If you like a film for whatever reason, that's perfectly fine. That's your opinion. I will always respect people's opinion. I always respect that they didn't like a film for a particular reason. There's nothing wrong with that. There is no such thing as a right opinion when it comes to a film he or she or a group of people love. All right? It's an art form, and many people have different tastes in that art form. My problem that I have isn't with much of reviewing, but the hidden motive behind the reviews. And mostly not always reviews is information that is given out to either persuade people to see a film, guilt people into seeing the film, or basically guilt people in not seeing the film before the film was even released. And we have gotten to that point where now, which I'm kind of surprised it actually has been viewed now in a microscope the way it is that Rotten Tomatoes is being questioned for the reviews from both the critic sides and the general audiences, to the fact that you have people supposedly sabotaging films. One of the latest information that I find it's hard to believe, is Sonic. Many people believe that the critics are out to do pretty much a hate article on Sonic the Hedgehog even before the films come out, to the point where you have reviews that are being questioned by certain individuals because they believe that it's being pumped up and rigged to actually promote and sell that film. And these are all coming from the way a lot of these journalists choose to promote the films, and also choose how to basically steer people away from the films. It's become a problem. It's become a huge problem, and many more so on the journalist side than it is from those who may or may not be willing to shell out the money, their hard-earned money, to see these films. Let's get to the main problem here. Politics. I didn't want to say this. I didn't want to believe it, but after the few years leading from Ghostbusters now, politics have hijacked Hollywood in a way it should never have gotten to that. You got people in Hollywood, whether big or small, influencing how these films are distributed, influencing how the script writers are telling stories, influencing the way of how we see these mediums. And it has not been kind in terms of the box office return they're expecting. But there is a certain denial going on in terms of how these films should be presented, because there's still a large group of people who believe that they're not left-wing enough or right-wing enough, and we have to push this narrative because we believe diversity is the key in actually having a political, social justice message. And that's not always the case, and it always doesn't work. what bothers me, and listen, let me explain one thing before I continue here, because I don't want to stumble back and forth here, because I know people are tired of hearing the social justice this or anti-social justice that. I understand. I get it. All right. Nobody came here to hear that. I understand that. But here's the thing. Hollywood is in that circle right now. They're in that bubble right now, and it's affecting the way films are coming out. The fact that I'm seeing videos over and over and over again about get broke, go woke, about certain films that has either A, has been badly marketed, B, has been guilt baiting people into seeing, and C, has been just basically calling out people that have no right to be called out on, has really have hurt this industry badly, to the point where you're seeing the scripts and you're reading the script and you have to put a message there that they believe it's going to sell more, when in reality you have to pull the opposite. And we're not just seeing it in Hollywood, we're not just seeing it in the films, but we are seeing it in even our commercials, where it's becoming a problem. It's a problem. And I said this before earlier in the Oscars, when sportscasters, those whose primary job is to report on sports, calling out Hollywood for this kind of stuff. Mike Francesa have called out the Oscars because he said that nobody wants to see a political message. People is getting turned off by that. And you know what? He's right. People are getting sick and tired of hearing it. And it's not only just affecting the Oscars in many ways, but it's also affecting how the media is reporting on films that may or may not come out. And to me, it's an unfair advantage for any film. It's not just those who are supposedly get broke, go broke kind of films that people have been calling out, but even films that really just wants to be a movie just to enjoy, not to be taken seriously. Sonic has been mentioned in one of these lists, that the critics are purposely downing this film before it came out, before anybody had a chance to see it. Did this lead to the studio not releasing reviews? Possibly. I don't know. Nothing really was said, no comments. If you want my opinion, they felt that no matter what this film does, it's going to get a negative review anyway, so what's the point? Just, release it without giving any screening. It's not going to stop critics from seeing this film. If they want to see this film, they fork off the money and see this film. Will it judge their opinion one way or another? It could be. Should it judge their opinion like that because they didn't get a free ticket to see this movie? No. But we gotta understand, human beings hold grudges sometimes with studios when they do that. This is how it is. With that being said, the question I have to ask is, what is the main purpose of a reviewer? What is the main purpose of what they do? Well, honestly, in my opinion, a reviewer is supposed to give information about the film they see, be honest about the film they see, make sure they see that film, and it also does another part where I think people seem to forget a little bit. When we go back to Siskel and Ebert, they were not only giving us reviews of a movie that came out, they was actually promoting the film. No matter what the reviews were, they were still promoting that film. There were dozens of films that they have reviewed. I'm pretty sure half the people didn't know it even exists. Hell, there were films from the time in the 60s. I look at the list and I didn't know this film about this film. Oh, I remember this film, but I didn't realize they reviewed it. So it's not just, basically, them just giving opinion, but it's also advertisements. This is the same goes for any type of media. When you see Jeremy Jahns talking about a film, he's not just talking about a film, he's also in many ways promoting the film, whether he hates the film or not. Whether he gives it better, whether he gives it an awesome tackler or some old dog, whatever, what the word is. He's still promoting the film. Whether he realizes it or not, he's still promoting the film. The same thing with some other reviewers, the Smos, Beyond the Trailers, etc. Their responsibility for these films is to be honest and give an opinion that doesn't try and basically put their own political spin on it. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of reviewers do this. Lately, it's not even much about the movie. It's more about the nature of the film, or just basically their own political spin of what they feel the film should be. And in my own honest opinion, that's a huge problem. Because if you're not basing the film on its own merit, about how good the film is and how bad the film is and why, but you're basing it on a political agenda, then your opinion means nothing to me. Your opinion has no clout with me. And this is something that I think a lot of moviegoers are pretty much questioning. There's a reason why Rotten Tomatoes is being questioned. And I think they have been trying, to their respective credit. And it's not bashing Rotten Tomatoes for their methods here, but they have been trying to curb down some of the reviews that many people they know for full well they haven't seen. And they have been for quite some time now. They're reinforcing it. The problem is who's behind the website, and do they have their own political spin, and are they actually doing any kind of altercations in terms of how these films are really rated? Because we don't know what their political messages are. We don't know who the critics are. I know Chris Stuckman is part of it. I know there's other critics that are part of it. But we have to ask the question. And we have to ask the question, how genuine are these reviews really? All these guys being honest about their reviews because they've seen the film and they don't think it's that great? Or they are just basically have an agenda behind it that questions not just their reviews, but the entire website in general. And that's the whole thing that a lot of people are finding, harder and harder to believe the reviews that are coming out, because again, the honesty and the integrity of the review itself, people just don't believe anymore because of the climate that we are right now. And again, I don't feel that shouldn't be that way. I feel that if a person sees the film and he doesn't like the film, and he gave a respectable, solid reason why he don't like the film, then it's not my place to question that. He didn't like the film because, number one, this, and that. This film did not have a good story structure. This film had a decent structure, but the acting was not there. Then, you know what? That's his opinion. I respect it. I respect it. Hey, this is something that bothered him. This is why he didn't like the film. Fine. Not that the film, I didn't like this film because it didn't have enough social justice message in it, and they should have added something there to make it more to a message that this is wrong, and we need to be told that this is wrong. Sound like a political message to me. I don't know about you. But here's the thing that really kills me here, and I'm gonna get to those who tried to sabotage the film before it came out, to those who actually just trying to destroy the film for the sake of actually promoting another movie. I'm going to talk about Sonic again. I'm going to talk about Birds of Prey. Let's get those two out the way here. According to some reports, even some internet personalities, there is a conspiracy plot against Sonic the Hedgehog, which was released this week. As I'm speaking to it right now. I haven't seen too many reviews on it. I know that Spill.com, I'm sorry, I still call them Spill.com. Let me apologize to Corey Coleman and friends. DoubleToasted.com have posted a review, but I haven't really touched on that. Largely because I am planning to take my daughter to the movies so that she can actually enjoy it for herself, because it is that kind of movie. But there were stories that suggested that this film may have been purposely set up to fail by those who have seen it, because they don't want this film to succeed, because they want Bird of Prey to be a film. As you all know, there's been a lot of negativity, even though I don't think it's justified, for Bird of Prey. Now, I'm going to be very honest here. I don't know what they plan to gain for Sonic the Hedgehog, because one, Sonic has a different fan base. Two, Sonic is more geared towards a younger demographic. Yes, there are fans of the games of old, going back to the 90s, but overall, this is still geared towards a family crowd. The demographics are going to be from ages, I'll just throw the ballparks, 5 to 25, or those who grew up with this movie. Birds of Prey, or what I now call on a new title, Harley Quinn's and the Birds of Prey, is not geared towards that audience. The rated R pretty much geared it for a more older audience and a more mature audience, ages from 18 to 35, 18 to 40 if you want to go that high. And that's who they are gunning for. So the demographic between the two is night and day. People are going to see this film, going to bring their children, and those who are old, like I am, are fans of the property that have came out over the years, and they want to see it because they were big fans of that. So that's their target audience. So going after this movie, just for the sake of trying to bomb it, don't make no sense because they're not in the same demographic. Number two, really, you really feel that desperate to get for Spur to Prey to get their ratings up? That's not going to happen. It never works that way. I have never seen a movie get sabotaged because they want the other film to work out because the first week of release wasn't as what people expected to be. I never seen it work yet, and I think it defeats the purpose. And three, if you're an actual, real, true journalist, it doesn't look good on your resume. It doesn't look good to anyone who reads your article that you are doing this not because you think this film is bad, not because you feel this good is horrible and it should be destroyed, but it makes you look bad because, number one, it brings your credibility to question. And no journalist should have their credibility put into question because they feel they need to be a champion of another film. Another thing is, and this is why I find it hard to believe, if you look at the ratings scale for Birds of Prey, or Harley Quinn's and the Birds of Prey, and Sonic the Hedgehog, which hasn't really gotten that many reviews because they didn't throw it out, but I'm going to just put it with Birds of Prey here. It's not as terrible as many people want to believe. It's mixed to decent. People who I've talked to, again and again, the more I talk to these people who saw the Birds of Prey, they say, hey, you know what? I had fun with this movie. I enjoyed this movie. And that's a good thing. Because here's the thing. Word of mouth sometimes is more powerful than the trailers and the TV spots that some of these movies have. If your word of mouth is good, I think it will pick up. I don't think it's any problem. I think it's, if you want to blame the film's lack of numbers, it was the advertisements. It was how they promote the films. Yes, the baiting men not to see this film and then turning around and blaming men for a lack of success is never a good thing. I'm getting tired of it. I wish the studio will stop this. I wish actors and actresses will stop playing into that role, because all it does is turn people off, not just for the film that you want to promote, this is a key word here, but also the fact is people may not even want to see other projects because of how you basically blast your customers. I think you guys remember these are ticket goers, and they don't want to be dealing with politics when they watch their film. They want to see a film. And I think this is something that Hollywood needs to address, because it's getting to the point where it's getting sickening. I should not see any article saying that a director blamed men for the film's failure, instead of actually looking at how you promote the film. Warner Brothers realized what was going on. That's why they changed the freaking title. Here's officially, it's still that name on theaters. My movie theater nearest me didn't change it yet. But they realized there was a mistake in how they made this promote this film. It should have been a Harley Quinn film. Period. And I felt that was more of a harmful for this movie than anything else. And attacking Sonic, which is a totally different genre, it has a totally different fan base, is not going to make your numbers any better. Now, if the film is bad and the critics reviewed it as fair as they could, then fine. But if you're going to blast this film, not because if the film is bad or good, or because you've seen it or not seen it, which is also a big problem, but because you want to boost the chances of Birds of Prey, you're not helping Birds of Prey. If anything, it's going to make it even worse for Birds of Prey to make their money back. Because then people see, oh, these are condescending, vengeful people who's trying to sabotage the film. And I don't think it should be. I don't think that should be an issue. I don't think that's happening, honestly. Because I don't think that most of these respectful journalists are that stupid to do that. But, you know, it's not those I'm worried about. It's those who do have a political agenda behind it. Those who had a history of trying to sabotage other films. Because it speaks loudly to an agenda they don't want to push. All I have to do is say again, Joker. Perfect example, Joker. Another thing I want people to remind you here, and this is something that even some of the guys who are talking about get broke, go woke in their videos, which I definitely disagree in, and I checked the numbers myself. This film is not a flop. Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey are not going to bomb in the United States. They're going to make their money back, but that's just the whole problem. Will they make enough? Will they be underperforming? Or will they actually pick up? Because if you take a look at the numbers, the first weekend, they were only $3 million short of making their money back. Now, granted, for all we know, they could just break even or make less than what they participated in. That's the problem. They underperform. And that is just as more important. But when I look at the film, I said, okay, what do you guys expect? Did you expect it's going to be $1 billion? Because it's not happening. It's not $1 billion movie. I can tell you right now, it's not $1 billion movie. They'll probably make 80. That could be a possibility. Or they could just make back their budget. Their budget was $60 million. I'm like, oh, $60 million? How much they made? They say $63 million in international tickets sales. And I'm looking at that, okay. So they will be above that line. And they're not going to bomb, but they will underperform. Now, is that good enough for Warner Brothers? Obviously not. I'm not going to sit there and say that they should be happy about it. I think they were expecting big returns, and it's not coming through. But again, that's more on Warner Brothers not doing a good job of promoting this film. Now, it really comes down to it. It has nothing to do with men. It has nothing to do with, some girl power message being behind it. I think if you've seen Harley Quinn, you already know what you're getting into. I think the problem is it just like Birds of Prey. Where? I see Harley Quinn. Are you sure this is the Birds of Prey film or Harley Quinn film? Which one is it? So I think that's what's more to do with anything else. Now, if you feel the need to sabotage another film to make a film grow, I got news for you. It ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. But I don't think that's the case here. I honestly don't feel that's happening. I honestly feel that it's ridiculous to happen. And I think if that was the case anyway, it didn't work because according to the numbers, Sonic's doing extremely well. For a video game movie, they're doing incredibly well. And a lot of this had to do with the fact is that they did a lot of things right before releasing this film. They made $500 million more of the budget to fix a mistake. And I gotta give them credit for doing that. I gotta give Paramount a lot of credit for that because number one, that could easily be a sign of worse things to come. Now this film, I don't know if it's a critical darling, but at this point, it doesn't really matter. It really don't. In the grand scheme of things, it really don't matter. But what I can say is that if it's the most successful video game movie that came out, and there's a whole bunch of them, I gotta see the numbers before I actually say it. But many people said it is an amazing hit, a surprise hit, and this is getting off the rocky start from the trailer. But I gotta respect the director for a lot of things. One, he didn't play into the fan hate when they saw the CGI characteristic of Sonic. He actually said, "Okay, you're right. This is not the way Sonic is. We're gonna fix it right away." And you know what? He was true to his word. I got news for you. That holds a lot of weight to a lot of people. You know, once he said that, and once it was announced that they was pushing the film back to fix the error, everything went quiet. You know why? Because to those who are big fans of this film saw that, hey, this director heard our complaints and he's complying, he's listening. He didn't go on a rampage. He didn't go on a rant. He said, yeah, we're going to fix it. And he went to work. A $5 million fix. That's a lot of money for them to shell out. But you know what? They're going to make that money back because, again, how they treated the customer. I say customer. I know people don't like to hear that, but I got to call it like it is. For Paramount, you guys are the customers. The moviegoers are paying to see this movie. And they listened to the customers. Their PR was great. And you know what? People remember that. People will keep that in the back of their head. Hey, these guys, they listen. You know what? I'm curious how they're going to do. I'm actually going to keep quiet. I'm going to see what they do. They listen to us. The whole entire hate that happened with this movie before it came out was gone. And when the new trailer came out, people were pumped up because they said, that's my Sonic. I can't wait. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good movie. It doesn't mean it's going to be a terrible movie. It's, who knows? For all I know, it could be average. I didn't care for the trailer either way. Didn't care for the new trailer that came out with the new design. Didn't care for the old one that had that design. Design that I say agree. Said, yeah, that's not Sonic. But what I will respect, and I will give my hats off to them, is that out of all of the bashing of the audience, even those who thought they shouldn't have done that, the media actually said that Sonic should not have done it, set of wrong precedents. But here's the thing. What they did had more of a positive response and a positive influence on people actually wanting to see this film than those who just brush it off and ignore it and say, you don't like it, don't worry about it. You just those who are complaining, you're just haters. No, they didn't do that. And I got respect for that director for that. If anything else, you gotta give him the man a lot of respect because that's how PR works. He did a good job of PR. He listened. He said, you know what? You're right. Let's fix this. And people are pumped up to see this movie. So it didn't surprise me that this film did well. They did a good job of doing good PR. We didn't hear that peep after that incident. Now, for all I know, we could see a lot of reviews and say this film is garbage. That could happen. But the one thing I gotta give respect is how he handled the situation. He didn't get on Twitter bashing moviegoers. He didn't get on some media mobile and say, you know, I don't want these group of people in there. No, he didn't do any of that. He made one statement, kept quiet, went to work, and let the promotion do the talking for it. This is the thing I think that a lot of veteran directors, a lot of newcomers, a lot of studio honchos are forgetting. And they need to look at that. But most importantly, going back to the review, these are what journalism need to remember. I said this once and I said it again. A lot of journalists don't report on news. A lot of reviewers don't review the films the way they're supposed to be done. They want to make news. They want to plug in a political agenda or whatever agenda they may have. And then they act so surprised when people are turned off by what they're trying to say. Because you're not giving a fair, honest review. I was completely, utterly turned off and sickened of how many journalists wanted to cancel Joker before the film even was released. They have imprinted fear into moviegoers and just basically into society abroad, just to get this film not played in theaters. It is sickening. It is unprofessional. It is wrong. But most of all, it forever made me lose the respect of those who have tried to attempt to do that. Because you wasn't trying to do it based on journalism. You had a political motive. And that political motive was sickening. When I hear a journalist say your blood's in your hands if you see this film, it's sickening. Now you're trying to guilt me out of fear to see a film. I don't even know the film is good now, but you shouldn't see it. Because, A, you may get the wrong feeling. That kind of fear is never good. It's never healthy. You're bashing a film so another film will do good is not real journalism. It's not. You might as well take that title off. I believe strongly that information is needed. Yes, I believe there's a responsibility for all those who review films that are being released today. Even me, if I'm reviewing a movie, and you guys are spending the time to watch me review a film, you are expecting me to be honest about that film, whether you like that film or not. That goes for even my flashback reviews. If I'm not honest, it's going to show. It's going to hear in my voice. You're going to see that, or if I do a live of a video, it's going to resonate, and it's going to stay with people. When people don't do that, that has an impact. People get turned off. People will move away from what you're trying to say because you're not being honest. And who's to blame them? Really, who is really to blame them? And that's something I think that a lot of these reviewers have to understand. They have a responsibility to be honest, not to try and shed a political view and try to make me feel some way because you believe in this view. It's not your job to do that. Left, right, whatever. I didn't came here for that. I came here for escapism. I came here to hear your opinion of a film, an honest opinion. And that's the key word, honest. The reason why I liked Gene Siskel and Roger was so much, even to their death, because despite my disagreements with what they was doing, or agreements with what they were doing, they were honest about it. I never felt there was nothing fake about their review on a movie. Again, not all the films I agree with. Not all the films I felt that were glamorous or bad, that they actually view good or bad. But what I do respect from them too, and I haven't, and so that's not just them. Jeremy Johns, I'm pulling them out there because I think he does a fantastic job these last 7-8 years since he was doing this, and he continues to surprise me every year. To Grace Randolph and Beyond the Trailer, to Angry Joe, who I've gone not only to respect his video game reviews, but his movie reviews as well, and his journalism. He amazed me. He came a long way from just being a game reviewer. He had really evolved from where he was. From the Smoes. These guys have earned my respect because they are honest and they're straightforward with their stuff. Whether I agree or disagree with them is irrelevant. It's about the respect that they give. And even they have seen some of the political nonsense, the political rhetoric that some of these columnists has been put down, because they mentioned a couple of things in their reviews, Chris Tuckman included. And I think that Hollywood and reviewers need to take a look in the mirror, because the last thing I want to see, real honestly, is to see a report saying that they are trying to destroy another film to boost another films in terms of box office sales. That never works. And secondly, you shouldn't have to do that. Word of mouth of any film is just as powerful as a review itself. Lots of films did not start off so well, but word of mouth got in fast. Hey, yo, you gotta see this film. This film is great. All right, let me check it out. Oh wow, this film is great. Yo, dude, you're right. Jim, you need to see this film. Word of mouth has still got power. It's still got clout. I'm asking you guys to be responsible. That's basically what it is. I'm not saying you should agree with everything. I'm not saying that you have to like everything. But if you're not gonna like a film or like a film, just give me your honest opinion as to why. That's all. And not have a vendetta over other films or try to sabotage one film to do another. What sense does that make? Really, what sense does that make? It's a defeating purpose. It only makes you, the reviewer, or the journalist, look bad. I lost a lot of respect for a lot of journalists for what they try to do to the Joker. Like I said, the one thing that Warner Brothers did absolutely right, they didn't play into it, and I'm glad they didn't. And they have every right to reap the fortune. They made a film that a lot of people thought it was impossible to make. or they shouldn't make. And they not only did it, but they picked the right actor and the right director to do it. Joaquin Phoenix deserved his awards. And most importantly, out of all the people, Joaquin Phoenix deserved to be angry at the critics for trying to do what they did. But do you think these guys learn anything? No, they want to still bash the guy because of what because he hurts their feelings because he's not giving them the time of day. Well, maybe if you'd done your job right as a responsible journalist would, he wouldn't be so bitter at you guys. What he feels towards you guys, you actually earned it. You deserve his anger. Because again, it wasn't more about the film being good or bad, it was about the fact that you tried to keep this film from being played or have people see this film. You wanted this film to fail. Not one person apologized for that. They just moved right on. Meanwhile, your credibility is even more shot because the film you're trying to praise isn't doing very well in the box office. Something to think about. Something to think about very, very carefully. In all, I'm going to be honest with you. Despite some of my distaste in how they choose to do the blame game with Harley Quinn's Birds of Prey, I want this film to do good. I really do. I think Margot Robbie plays a very good Harley Quinn. I know she's going to be in the Suicide Squad sequel. Kind of curious how that's going to be because Mr. Gunn has directed that one. So my respects towards her is strong. My respect towards anyone who participated in the film is strong. I'm not going to sit there and bash the film. I didn't see the film. So I'm not going to talk about how good the film is. What I am saying is I do hope it does well. From what I've been hearing about the words of mouth and how people were generally surprised how good the film is, mostly from men too. I'm looking forward to see how they go about this, and how they will continue. I'm hoping this does well. I hope it picks up. But sabotaging one film so that what film will do well isn't going to answer. First of all, it's not going to work. Different demographic, different group of people seeing that film. A good portion of those films are gamers or those who have children who likes that character Sonic. Nobody going to care about Birds of Prey. They're not taking the kid to see Birds of Prey unless you have a parent who like to take the kids to rated R films. Nothing wrong with that. Just keep that in mind. On the whole, if you want to be honest, I'm genuinely surprised of how certain films did well. Bat Boys, hey, they're doing good. Doing very, very good. I'm kind of happy for those two stories because they haven't had much of a hit lately. Especially Martin Lawrence. I actually forgot he actually was still doing something in Hollywood. They looked their age, I will say that, but overall, they still had fun with it. That's what I want to talk about, guys. I just wanted to get that out the way, get that feeling off. I'm not angry because it's really, when I hear the report, I said this doesn't make any sense, and there's no reason for me to be angry. But I am disappointed that I'm seeing journalists fall into this political trap, and it hasn't helped them or the outlets that they are working for. And I feel that this is becoming an issue when I feel that this has to be fixed because, again, it shows a bad precedent. I should not have to question reviews from Rotten Tomatoes. I shouldn't. If the person's honest, fine. They're honest. That's all they feel. But when you start having to put question and doubts of whether or not that there's a different motive, it shakes. It doesn't matter if Rotten Tomatoes is involved or not. It brings doubt towards the credibility of the journalism of the people who are reviewing, as well as the website or paper that they're reporting on. It really does. It just does. And I feel that it should not be that way. I feel that for anything, this is just respective feedback from me. As long as you're doing fine and reviewing and you give me an honest opinion, I'm not going to be mad at you. It's your opinion. It's when I see you're trying to use a platform to besmirch a film that don't deserve it, disperse a film to help boost another film. Now it's no longer about a review. There's an agenda there. And to me, that's not what journalism is all about. That's not what reviewing films is all about. You may disagree. I'd like to hear what you have to say. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say on this topic. Before I go, yes, I did see Fast and the Furious Trailer 9. For one, I understand, its 10th is supposed to be the last one, but then again, I thought The Fate of the Furious was going to be the last ones, and I feel if they keep making money, I think they're going to keep doing it, whether with Vin Diesel or not. I was never really a big fan of the first 3 Fast and Furious. I actually did enjoy Fast and Furious, which is like, actually, ironically, that's the one with no number. Fast 5 was okay. I didn't see the other 2 though. I didn't even see Hop and Sharp, so I'm keeping that right there. But and the reason is, I just, you know, how much more crazy can it get? This trailer was insane. This trailer, when I saw it, I was like, wow, they really went all out for this one. The Han Fury. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't have a answer how he survived that. I did see Tokyo Drift. It's far better than Too Fast, Too Furious. I can't stand that one. I consider that to be the worst of all of them. He died in that car crash. I'm sorry. There's no way he would have got out of there. You know, he has some scarring, was I'm assuming, from that crash. But you gotta do something. You gotta do some very, very strong explanation to that. I can accept Rodriguez's character because we didn't really see. She probably did get shot, but she didn't. It wasn't fatal, and she probably lost her memory because of that. So I can live with that. But that car exploded. All right, that car is that. You know, he's gone. There should be no reason why he's still alive, unless that's his twin brother. And all the time we got duped. But I seriously doubt that is. The stunts, the crazy action scenes that we're seeing. This is Fast and Furious. What do you want? There have been parodies about this. That, you know, it's no longer about the racing. It hasn't been about the racing since Tokyo Drift, really. Look, if you look at from Fast and Furious 4 all the way down to now, it's all about the action, all about this, about the, you know, the set pieces, and the fact that they went from, you know, car races to vigilantes to heists, all the way to all now. But I think they're gonna adapt. Honestly, I think they're gonna adapt a little bit of the Hobbs and Shaw into this series, because you gotta explain to me how Vin Diesel caught a car that was flown to him. I need to answer that one, or how they managed to jump off buildings with no net, all concrete coming down. It's kind of weird. But I'm gonna say this though, I still had fun watching it. It's an enjoyable trailer. It's action packed. So I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to it. That's the one. I'll go back and watch the other Fast and Furious just to get me catch up to that, because that trailer was pumped up. There is a theory about the kid, because I seriously doubt they're gonna go for all these race cars unless something happened to that child, whether he was killed off. But I don't think they're killing him off. I think something got kidnapped. I think he's gonna be a very strong plot device, not just in 9 but 10. I think that's gonna lead up to whatever happens here. I think everything is gonna be built. I think that this movie is going to be the introduction to the last film. I think they're gonna do a Harry Potter. And anybody read the books, you knew that the Goblet of Fire was the bridge between the younger demographic to teenage novel, because it was considered a children's novel for the first 3, and it became a teenage novel in the last 4. And I think this is what's going to happen here. I think 9 is going to be pretty much an introduction to 10, and I won't have a problem with that, because there's still some unresolved issues going on with this franchise. A lot of stuff that has not been resolved just yet. So I do see this film being, you know, this one will pretty much be the introduction to the last film. I do believe that. Now, I don't know if they're going to break up. I don't think they should do it. I don't think, you might as well just call it a different title, but I don't think it's going to be a 2-parter. I think there's going to be, if it's going to be Fast and Furious 10. I think they will do 11 if anything else. But I don't see Fast and Furious 10 Part 1 or Part 2. That don't make no sense. But honestly, it's just something I'm actually looking forward to. It doesn't matter. But I do believe there are going to be spin-offs down the road. Is it going to be an all-female cast that I've been seeing got thrown around? And I'm going to read more into that because I don't think that's true. And even if this is something thrown around, I got to ask why. You got Michelle Rodriguez. You got the other female characters. Do you really need a female Fast and Furious? I don't think they do. I think if you got those characters called Fast and Furious, they're there. It ain't like they're being included. But again, that's just something that just popped out. I gotta read more into it. I don't think it's necessary. They don't need it. You know. I think that it's just it's again to me. It's if they do it's gonna be for the wrong reasons. That's just my opinion. But what's your opinion? That's it for the time being, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm doing the music intros every now and then, depending on the mood and what I'm trying to go for, because this was a story that pretty much stood on its own. It's not going to be an everyday thing, but in terms of this, I felt it was more fitting to the episode, so don't expect too much of this. Every now and then, it depends on the narrative and depends how many stories I'm doing with the entertainment roundup itself. So there's your answer from there. But until then, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Give me some feedback. Give me your opinion, whether you like or didn't like, and tell me why. I always love to hear what you guys say at the comment section. Until next time, J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.